What's up, crypto fam? Just wanted to get on, do a quick update on Bitcoin. I'm not going to focus on any of the other markets today, mostly because whatever Bitcoin does, the altcoins are going to follow pretty much. So let's just get a grasp on what's Bitcoin doing. Should we be concerned that we're going to drop more from here? Are we going back up from here? What is happening, right? Um, Well, what is most likely to happen? Because nobody knows what's going to happen, right? It could go down, it could go up, could stay sideways, right? All we have is indicators that tell us what is the most likely outcome. So, and based on that, we place out trades, um, to minimize our risk. So, let's look at the monthly. So here we are on the monthly. Monthly is absolutely bullish still. We're still above the cloud. The Chico span's still way above price. We've been going sideways for a good number of months, almost a year, right? So since pretty much since February, yeah, February 21 to now. So a little over a year, we've just been kind of trading sideways between 69,000 and 30,000. As long as we stay above 36,250, I think everything's cool with Bitcoin. As long as we get a monthly close above that, if we get a monthly close below that, then I'd be concerned. But until then, nothing to talk about. We still have 3 weeks to go in a month. Let's look at the weekly. Come on. Okay, so weekly, we're still in the cloud. Um, it's leaning more towards bearish, to be honest with you. The Chico spans below price and below the Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen. Price is above the Tenkan-sen but below the Kijun-sen, and the cloud future cloud is bearish. So leaning more bearish on the weekly, but I'd get really concerned if we close below 36,000. Right? I think we still have a possibility to come down to 41,300. What's this? 41,280. Bounce off of it and try to test the Kijun-sen, right? Which is at 51,000. And you heard me talking about that number for quite a while, right? I think we still have an opportunity to get to 51,000, and then we'll look at it from there. If we break through, great. If not, that would be where I'd be looking for a rejection and possibly more downside. But really, it's just trading sideways right now. Not much to do. We're trading in between the short term and midterm lines right now. I don't like to call them moving averages. They're really not moving averages, right? They're midpoints of price over the midterm and short term. So short term, bulls are in control on the weekly, and they will lose control if we fall below 41,280. Midterm, the bears are still in control on the weekly. Right? Until we break above 51,000, they're going to remain in control. Let's look at the 3-day. So 3 days looking good, right? Excuse me. We hit these lows 3 times. They've pretty much been holding. Each one's a little higher than the other, right? So low, higher, low, higher, low. Same thing with the highs, right? You got high, higher, high, higher, high, higher, high. So It's looking good, and the Tenkan-sen's above the Kijun-sen, so we flipped. We got the golden cross here. So, you know, there's still opportunity here for it to go. I mean, we do have a lot of resistance here. This pretty thick cloud, and it is going sideways, right? This is sideways. This span is sideways. This is sideways. This is sideways. So we're just kind of ranging on the 3-day, right? But when we are going in a downtrend, right, like we were here, every time we go down, let's see if this works out for us. So when we go down and we come down, we always look for a retracement back to the 38, right? So down, back to the 38, or sometimes 50, or sometimes the 61, and then back down. So in this case, we went down, came back up to the 38, and then we went back down, right? On this particular one, if we measure it from here to the next down, which would be here. So we came down, came back to the 50, and then back down, right? And then let's measure it from this one. Let's go from this high to this low, right? From that high to this low, and we came back to the 61 on this one, right? If we went from this, actually we should have probably went from this one, but let's see. No, so that was the right one. So we came back to the 61. So now that works the other way too. So now that we broke these highs and made a higher high, I'm assuming we're in an uptrend, right? So instead of looking for let me delete that. So instead of looking for moves down and then a retracement up and then down and then a retracement up and then down and then a retracement up, right now I'm looking for up and a retracement down and then up and then a retracement down and then up, right? Because now instead of making instead of making lower highs, right, now we're making higher highs and higher lows, right? So each low is getting higher, each high is getting higher. So sorry. So where are we now on this? We're at the 50% Fibonacci on the, well, actually, are we? Let's see. It would be from this low to this high, right? So low, 50% Fibonacci, right? If we went from here, we'd be at the 38. So there's a chance we could come back down to the 50, which is at 40,730, right? 40,586. And we could even come back down to this 200-day moving average, right? On the 3-day, and still be an uptrend, right? Because we'll still have a higher low. So that's a possibility. Now let's look at the daily. So on the daily, you can see it's 50% Fibonacci because the Kijun-sen is the 50% Fibonacci. And if you look at it, there you go, right on the 50. So we came up, back to the 50 Fibonacci on the daily. I still think we could come down to the 618, which would be at somewhere around 41,625, and bounce from there. Now, I notice Bitcoin a lot of times comes back down to 6.6 for some reason, and I think that's because a lot of traders say if it goes past the 618, I'm getting out, right? So it goes down to the 6.6, knocks them all out, and then turns around and goes back up. So a lot of times I'll let it go to 6.6, even though it's not a real Fibonacci number. But I wouldn't, this is not a bad place to buy as far as I'm concerned. That is where, just like in downtrends, like if you were taking a short, so if you're going short, when it comes back to the 38 or the 51, let's say you missed this and you want to get in on a trade, this is where you'd want to get in. When it comes back to the 38 or back to the 550, that's where you take your trade. And if it continues up this way, you'd get out of your trade, right? You just put a stop loss right above it, get out of your trade because it might be reversing, right? But as long as it stays, so the same thing, uptrend, right? You buy here, you put your stop loss down here, and if it continues down, you get stopped out. Now, that depends on your trading style. Some people look at the 38, some people look at the 50. Maybe you want to put in, half of what you'd normally put in, just in case it comes down to the 6.1, and then put the other half in there. And then if it breaks below 66 or 61, whatever you feel comfortable with me, it's 66. If it comes past that, then dump it, right? But this is not a bad place to buy. Now, let's look at the 4 hour, and that's it. It's the last thing I'm going to look at, right? The 4 hour, we are sitting right on the 200 period moving average. And it looks like we're about to close this at midnight, if it closes like this, as a doji candle, indecision candle, right? So you'd wait one more candle. If you get an up candle, we're probably going to head back up. And we are in oversold territory right here. So there's a possibility. So we're going to get a cross above the signal line at 43,327 if we close above that. And if we close close 43,513, we'd be back into back into the bearish territory, but heading up, right? Neutral territory. So that's all I'm looking at right now. I'm just keeping an eye on it. But like I said, you could put in half of what you normally put in, and then see if we come down to the 618, put another half, put a stop loss right under it, and if it breaks below it, then we're probably going to continue down even further. But that's the best way to do it for a low risk trade. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait for this to come up and get back above the tank it's in, and you'll get your light blue candle again, and probably continuation signal on our other indicators, right? You'll get a green here above the explosion level, and this by then will the Ichimoku score I have set for the 3 hour, right? So if this goes back into the green area, that's telling me on the lower term time frames, Ichimoku is looking good, right? It means the Tenketsu's above the Kijutsu, price is probably above both of them. The cloud is turning bullish. So on a lower time frame, it's saying, we're getting all the signals on the lower term time frames. So maybe we're going to get continuation on the higher time frames. And as long as I'm getting my other signals here and I'm getting this, then that is the other way I'd look to take the trade. So it depends, right? If you're bearish, then you just wait for it to come down more. If you're bullish, then you'd start buying here, looking for it to take another leg up, right? And that is what I am expecting. Like I said, I'm expecting this to come up, come back down, maybe even a little further, right? Come back up, break it, then test it, and then continue on to 50,000. Well, actually, sorry. Where is that? Right, so we came up, came down to the 50, or maybe the 61. If we could break this, right, come back up to the 51 area like that, and then come back down and test this area, and then bounce off of it, or just break down and continue down. And if we fall back below this at that point, I'd say we're back in a downtrend, right? Because if we break this, then this comes down, then it'll come down, it'll test it, and then we'll break down again. So that is what I'm looking for. You know, but at the end of the day, you have to plan your trade. So I just kind of laid out some scenarios for you, and you have to lay out your trade based on that. Right? There should always be a plan. All right, if I get in here, where am I getting out? For me, it would probably be 3% below this. Because if it breaks through here, we're probably going to see further downside. But I think 3% might be already be at the... yeah, 3% will be pretty close to this, to 61.8 already. So, you know, do with you what you'd like with that information, but that's what I'm looking at. I might buy on the 4 hour, or I might wait for one 4 hour candle after this and decide whether I'm getting back in or not. Right? I did close out all my trades yesterday because, right, most of you guys know when I get a dark blue, and we're so far from the Kijitsun, usually I get out. And I didn't like the way the market was looking yesterday, so I got out of and pretty much closed everything. Link was giving me the signal. Comp was giving me the signal. No, actually it wasn't, but I just wasn't feeling comfortable with the market yesterday at close. Right, I had the blue here. OMG had given me a blue, and then I think AVEX was back under the line, right? We had the line drawn here, and we had closed below it, and I was like, yeah, we could be coming all the way back down to 73 or 84, right? I would have expected the same thing: uptrend, back down, uptrend, back down, and up. So, being that we broke below the we're probably on the 6.1 now on this. Let's see. Close to it. All right. So, yeah, I don't know, guys. I think this one actually broke below this, didn't it? Right, you could actually put it here. So as long as we stay above that, maybe bounce up again from here. But yeah, most of the stuff's back at the 50, guys. Right, back at the 50, looks like it's bouncing. ADA, not yet at the 50, but close to it. Anchor broke the 50 hard. Broke the 50, now it's testing it from the bottom. Close to the 50. the 50. Doge just closed right back under the 50, and we're at the 50 long term. Let's see. Right, so that's the 50 medium term, and if we went to here, usually works out where this will end up being the 50 on the long term, right? Because this is the 50 50 within 26 candles usually would put you your 50% Fibonacci here, and then if it's between 50 candles, it would put your Fibonacci candle here, which would be a different time frame here. Now this is interesting, right? Because technically on the longer time frames, Doge is still in downtrend, right? So we came down, right, back to the 38. Oh no, back to the 50 pretty much, right, close to the 50, and then back down, and then it went back up to the 50, then down, back up to the 50, down, and we're right at the 50 again. So it's make it or break it for Doge right now, right? Doge can get rejected from here again and come back down and make a even lower low, right? So you got your high, lower high, lower high, or lower high, lower high, and same thing, low, lower low, lower low. So Doge could turn here and come all the way back down. And you guys know I've been telling everybody I'm still waiting for 7.5 cents or 7 cents on Doge. That is my buy target for Doge. May never get there, and if it turns around before then, on a daily time frame, maybe I'll buy some Doge. But I've been pretty much sticking to my 7 cents, and everybody that knows me, all my friends are like, still waiting for that 7 cents? And I'm like, yep, I'm waiting for that 7 cents. So we'll see what happens, guys. But anyway, stay safe, safe trading, be well, and I will talk to you soon. Have a good night.